your light. Hi, I'm Patricia. Before recorded history, humans knew singing as a deep source of power. Power to change, power to heal, power to be present with what is. Right here, right now, we are remembering the ancient gift of song, using modern tech to help us tap into resilience and capacity in what are chaotic, difficult times. Welcome to the 190th episode of A Breath of Song. I'm so glad you chose to do this today, which is extra special because Yuri Woodstock is joining us for a songwriter conversation. Hi, Yuri. Welcome.
Hi. Glad to be here.
We're here to find more ways to sing songs that help us heal, adapt, and grow. Each of our voices is exactly what's needed for this. I'm coming to you straight from my home in what is now called Burlington, Vermont, on the unceded homelands of the Abenaki people, on sand plains between the Winooski River and Lake Champlain. Yuri, tell us where you're calling from.
Weaverville, North Carolina, kind of in the wake of Helene still. There's a lot of trees down, and it is at the height of spring, a couple notches down in the green spectrum from the bright green of mid-April, and we're getting thunderstorms and bugs.
We are just landing the bright green right now. The maples are really blooming, and so we're just in that moment of bright green. We're definitely behind you a little bit.
Yeah. It's getting really nice out.
Nice. Sweet. All our voices will turn up as they are today in this bug-ridden, warm, cold, wherever you are, however your world is. No matter what, we can feel the connection to our breath and vibration in our body. Let's find how good it can feel to sing. Last week I shared Yuri's song, Hearth. Today, Yuri will be teaching us In the Spring. We'll learn it slowly so it can settle inside you. You can begin to trust it as a resource, let it move you into a state of flow. Then we get to enjoy a conversation with Yuri, and we'll close out with the song again at the end. You'll always be able to find this episode with full show notes, ton of show notes, artwork, everything like that, in the library of songs at abreathofsong.com. But let's start with a yawn stretch, maybe rolling your shoulders. Getting into your back a little bit. Whatever feels good in your body at whatever point of the day it is. I like to arc side to side, feeling some width into my ribs. And maybe allow some hums to come out as you're doing this. Ooh, sighs. Ooh, any kind of released sound. Wow. And let's take some longer sighs up and down your spine. Ooh. And over the top, imagining this sound traveling up your spine, over the top and down your front. Ooh. Just one more like that, feeling how it vibrates. Yuri, I'll turn it over to you to share this song.
All right. Well, I like songs for cycles. Songs for greetings and goodbyes, waking up and going to sleep, and the seasonality of the world. And so far I've made a winter and spring and fall song spread out over many years. And the one that you shared last time was the winter one, Hearth. So this is the shortest one. It's just a little round that I came up with last spring, and it's seasonally appropriate right now. So it's called In the Spring. And I'll sing it once, and then I'll start just share the words and then break it down. So, in the spring, among the flowers, birdsong rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is bright. What a time to unleash your light. So it keeps going way up and then tumbles down. So maybe I'll just say the words and then you can just repeat them back to me. Mm-hmm. We have In the Spring Among the Flowers.
In the spring among the flowers.
Birdsong rings in the morning hours.
Birdsong rings in the morning hours.
Sun is up and the day is bright.
Sun is up and the day is bright.
What a time to unleash your light.
What a time to unleash your light.
So, first part goes, in the spring among the flowers.
In the spring among the flowers.
Bird song rings in the morning hours.
Bird song rings in the morning hours.
Sun is up and the day is bright.
Sun is up and the day is bright.
What a time to unleash your light.
What a time to unleash your light.
And maybe we'll do first half and second half, break it into bigger chunks.
Yeah, and maybe if you could do especially the first one and the last one again. I'm not sure I got all of the little...
Yeah.
Everything.
And my voice is a little groggy this morning too, so...
Yeah, it's great.
In the spring among the flowers.
In the spring among the flowers.
Okay, the last part is, what a time to unleash your light. What a time to unleash your light.
What a time to unleash your light.
So, together a few times?
Yeah.
In the spring among the flowers, bird song rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is bright. What a time to unleash your light. In the spring among the flowers, bird song rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is bright. What a time to unleash your light. In the spring among the flowers, bird song rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is bright. What a time to unleash your light. In the spring among the flowers, bird song rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is bright. What a time to unleash your light. In the spring among the flowers, bird song rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is bright. What a time to unleash your light. Yay! So, should we round it now?
Yeah.
I'll do the first part and then you come in, I guess just one behind, so...
Sure.
Just right on the one on birdsong rings.
Okay.
So...
Gotcha.
In the spring among the flowers, birdsong rings in the morning hours. Birdsong rings and the day is bright. Sun is up and the day is bright. What a time to unleash your light. Birdsong rings in the morning hours. Birdsong rings in the morning hours. Sun
Oh, I love this. I love this. So doing it as a round helped me know what I didn't quite know yet. So I'm wondering if I can ask you, it's particularly tricky for me at least, at the end of each of the phrases. There's like a ornamentation. There's sort of a vocal, a fun thing that I want, almost like a little bit of birdsong.
Yeah.
In the first two. And
Yeah.
I think I finally got the first one, but now I wasn't sure I was getting the second one. So I'm wondering if you have any way of sharing those, helping me out on those.
Bird song rings in the morning hours. So yeah, there's a few hidden notes in there.
Yeah.
Hours.
Hours.
Among the flowers.
Among
so yeah,
the
ideally both would be going right on
flowers.
top of each other with those little ornamentations.
Yeah, that's helpful. Fabulous. Can we do it one more time?
One more time?
Yeah.
In the spring, among the flowers, bird song rings in the morning hours.
Bird song rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is bright. What a time to unleash your light.
Bird song rings in the morning hours.
Bird song rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is bright. What a time to unleash your light. It's such a great song.
Oh, thank you.
And it's so much fun to sing. What do you hope people pay attention to when they carry this song?
I just hope it makes people feel happy, honestly. It's funny, my brother Jonah, my little brother, is like 6 years younger. He's been singing in the choir with me for years, lives locally. He helps me write my songs. He's really good at just kind of nudging me. I'm one of those people it's kind of the brute force method. They don't just like magically come to me. I'm just like, all right, we're going to sing a song. What's something we want to sing about? Okay, trees. All right, sing a song about a tree. And so what's a note? And nothing's new under the sun. So we basically take a couple songs we want it to sound vaguely like, and then we'll start kind of being like, what sounds kind of like that, but different? And this one started as... Oh, how lovely is the evening, is the evening. And he's like, I want to create a different, oh, how lovely is the evening, a slow, melodic kind of thing. And it sort of started kind of sounding similar at the beginning. And then I just added a bunch more and sped it up. And I took a shower before choir and came out and was like, I've got it. And it's like this. And he's like, oh, no. That's not what I was going for at all. This is much too happy and goofy and... Oh, man. But he knew that the song had kind of taken itself over and something had come through. And usually my songwriting process involves kind of almost a frustratingly difficult, like getting the boulder rolling at the beginning. But once I have a few notes, oftentimes the layers or the other round parts come much more easily. So I think this song, more than others, did just kind of magically come through once I got the ball rolling. And yeah, it was a song of just kind of happiness and excitement, and this building, it obviously goes up and up and up and up into this like, whoa, it's like ecstatic kind of vibe. So yeah.
It is so much fun to sing.
Thank you. Yeah.
I've got you. Let me ask you about Hearth, which I taught last week.
Yes.
And what I loved about that song is the way that it feels smoky to me. The harmonies,
cool.
The different layers get this feeling of being a little surreal. And it really feels to me like the way I've felt sometimes at a fire, at a night bonfire. That kind of surrealness.
Yeah, I really like that one. That might be my favorite song I've written. And it was just recent, just this last winter, it came through. And yeah, the wordy part was kind of when it was the difficult beginning, like gotta crunch out some lyrics and what are the vibes of winter and fire and smoke and tending to the hearth and turning inward. But then all the other layers and harmonies just kind of magically came through really quickly for me. I love when there'll be like two harmonies soaring and kind of droning over the lyrics, and Yeah, I think it's that fourth part, the dreaming in an endless night, living in an endless dream, the notes on those parts in particular that add a particular surrealness to it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very cool. Did your brother help on that song too? Did he kind of urge that one forward?
He did. I believe he was helping with that one too. Yeah. So that one I really love. I think it's one of my favorite ones to lead in a big group. My group sizes range from like 50 to 60 to 80 or 90, 100 often. And so in really big groups, that one sounds amazing. And, the tenory folks are doing the fire in my heart and the fire in my heart. And, oh yeah, those slidey harmonies I really love. Mesmerizing. It's a good one. And the contrast between the sliding, droning harmonies, those long notes, and the kind of rhythmic engine of the song churning along. Yeah.
So have you done In the Spring with any of your big groups?
Yeah, about a year ago when I wrote it, I led it in spring choir. Yeah.
Yeah. What happens when you hear a big group singing your song? How does that feel inside?
It feels amazing. And for years, I didn't teach any of my own songs, and I'm not much of a songwriter. It's more that I find myself in this position of being this facilitator of big group harmonies. There's already so many amazing songs to lead, but I'm like, come on, Yuri, you gotta write songs so that you can, because you've got this ultimate instrument to play, And yeah, seeing 80 or 100 people in a big resonant room, all just glowing and stoked to sing, it's the best instrument I could ever imagine getting to play. So it only makes sense that I write songs. So I've been pushing myself more in the last year or so to write more. And yeah, I've written 5 or 10.
Have you worked with other size groups, or have you only really worked with large groups?
Well, it's just my thing, so it had to grow, and it grew it grew over a few years. I started out very humbly, just, show up, pay what you want. Like, so many times it was 6 or 7 people in the room, which is really hard. If one person out of that group is severely like singing out of key or off, it can make it really hard for the rest, or rhythmically off. So the bigger the group gets, the more it has resiliency to handle and help and buoy folks who have trouble singing in key. So, it took a couple years to really get up to a size where it changed the momentum and the feeling, It changes the feeling when you're up around 16, and then I'd say it changes again when you're around 35. It's a whole nother creature there. You got like a solid group, 35, 45, 50. It's like, wow, that's plenty. And then once you get into 60, 70, 80, it's like, oh my God, this is a huge, massive throng, and the energy is just there. I can show up to choir sometimes depleted or sad or, tired, and just having that many people in the room, like, I'm an extrovert. I get energy from groups for sure, and it's like surfing a tidal wave of energy.
Yeah. So what do you think made your groups grow, or what do you think you did specifically that made people comfortable let me back up. What I really want to ask you is, what do you do to make people comfortable being in a room with so many other people at the same time?
Yes. Yeah. I have a lot of opinions about this. I live in Asheville. There's all kinds of group stuff going on. And there's often this tendency to make it to partially make it a horizontally oriented space where it's like, this is all of us sharing or something like that. And there's a lot of that. And sometimes I think that there's, in this alternative bubble, maybe a de-emphasis on strong leadership. And I am kind of giving them a counterpoint to that. I'm just like, this is my house. We're just singing. Shut up and sing. They show up, they stretch. There's no announcements. There's no soapbox. I do say things like, we're not here to sing the notes right. I say things like, we're going to tune into our inner critics and ask them all to go outside for the next 2 hours. And you're not allowed to give the stank-eye to someone for singing the wrong note. I say that kind of stuff at the beginning of the session, but the season. But I don't coddle them. It's not as much of it's not as tender and sweet and wholesome. I mean, that happens automatically, but I think that because singing together is inherently such a tender, sweet, wholesome thing, having kind of a bossy pirate in the middle of the room helps a lot of people feel like, okay, this guy's got us under control. He's making the thing go forward. We're not going to just melt into a it's not going to melt into a grief ceremony, which is beautiful and important. But the space I hold is very much like song, 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 song. Well, I'll do like dead silence at the end of an amazing sing of a song for 15 seconds. And then I hit the note and we're doing the next song. And it's 2 hours of standing singing. It's like with a 10-minute break in the middle, a very measured 10-minute break every single session. Standing, warming up, singing, standing, singing, walking around and weaving the harmonies around each other. It's kind of the main thing that I do, even with 4-part SATB stuff. So yeah, I think that it's a very neutral space. There's very little soapboxing and describing like why this is wholesome and how we need community and all these things that people generally know and are working on in the community already here. And I'm just like, this is a space where we show up and we just mix our voices, and one thing I really love is the way that singing together is the only way that we can constructively use our voices at the same time. I would say, like, in conversation, we have to take turns. We have to practice listening, and then I speak, and then you speak, and make sure it's balanced, and we center each other. And with singing, it's both at the same time, and both is the greater than the sum of their parts. And there's so much beauty in the ways that when people sing together, they can connect without having to evaluate each other in any way. Mm-hmm. Like there are people who've been singing, sometimes crying, laughing, next to each other in choir at this point for 7 years, and walking around, and sometimes during the milling around and singing, sometimes people will be hugging each other, dancing with each other, goofing off a little bit. And it's like a singing dance party sometimes. And sometimes these people barely know each other, but they love each other. They've seen each other's essence in this song space. And what's interesting is maybe they wouldn't even get along. Maybe they wouldn't necessarily click conversationally or with how they are in the world. But in that space, I think it's a great equalizer. And so I try to hold that space and keep it a just singing space and all the way through to the end. And there's a very clear ending. We all clap at the very end to decisively close the container, and then it's over. So I think that my ability to firmly and clearly and generously hold a space has helped people feel like they can relax into that.
When did you know that you were able to hold space in that way?
Well, I went to CCLT in 2017 under the encouragement of some song leader friends like Lawrence Cole and Annie Zylstra at the time, and Amy Ringel. And
none of whom live in Asheville, so how did you meet them?
It's a whole kind of crazy story how it all went down, but there was a singing gathering in Asheville, and I was there selling soup, of all things. Actually, I was like, this is kind of a hippie gathering. I used to be into this stuff, but not so much anymore. It's going to be kind of a blissy scene, but they're not cooking lunch, so I'm going to cook soups because I'm a chef as well. And so I covered soups for like 100 people. And I met Annie, and Annie Zylstra, and she was teaching some really powerful songs at the time. She was, and I was like, whoa, I've never seen song leading like that. That's really amazing. And Lawrence and her and Samara Jade and some other song leaders were all going to Village Fire in Iowa, which used to take place, which is a amazing kind of 8 shields oriented, like maybe 400 person song gathering in the Midwest, which was, I think at the time, the best one going on in the country. Very well held. Lots of really amazing song leaders went. I met Lisa Littlebird and Gretchen Schleicher, who does the choir with Lawrence. And there was just countless other really amazing song leaders up there. And I realized that the bar could be way higher than I had ever experienced before. I had been in a lot of what I would describe as like hippie song circles where people just kind of pass the mic around and teach a song as best they can, sitting down around a fire. And sometimes it gets going pretty well and can be really sweet and beautiful. But the precision and like leadership quality is usually just, hey, we're sharing some songs. It's casual. But at Village Fire, I was like, whoa, some of these people are really, really good at this. And holding these songs. So where are these songs coming from? I just kind of discovered this whole world of community singing songs that were really powerful and experienced singing in a way that I had never experienced before. And I wanted to get deeper in, and people like Lawrence were saying, hey, do you know that you're learning these songs really quickly? I'm noticing that you're holding the parts pretty easily. You're a good singer. Like, you should lead some. Why don't you lead one around the fire tonight? And I did, and it went well. And so it just kind of came to me. I didn't even realize that it was a thing at all. And then I learned about a few different trainings. There's like Barbara McAfee's full voice training in the Midwest, and there's CCLT in Victoria, British Columbia, and that seemed like very immersive. 2 weeks of learning song leading all day, every day, basically. And so I did that in 2017 and excelled greatly at it. And at the very end, it was just a very powerful experience. I remember I taught this Russian liturgical hymn that Lawrence had showed me called Tibia Paiom, and it was 4 parts, SATB kind of thing, and I learned it all by ear. I was just cramming for it before, and I learned it all within a couple days and taught it to this big group, and it was super powerful. They kind of let me go last because they knew it was going to be a special one, and it was sort of the culmination of the whole CCLT experience for everyone, and it flowed really, really beautifully, and it was moving for a lot of people, and it was like, whoa, this is it. And that was my kind of breakthrough moment of being like, okay, I'm good at this, and I'm going to take it seriously and start a choir.
So backing up a little bit, when you were a chef, did you work with other people? Were you a solo chef?
I wasn't like a professional chef. I would sometimes cater events and sell soups or sandwiches or whatever. I like cooking. I would say I'm an enthusiast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had you done music making in any formal way before?
Yeah, I've been a musician my whole life. Both my parents sing. My dad plays guitar. I learned guitar when I was 16 and was that guy at the party who would play Neil Young songs and Gillian Welch songs until the break of dawn and get people singing along and singing around the bonfire and all that. But had kind of plateaued with that, and I wasn't doing a ton of music for a while, but enjoy oral tradition singing, and was already kind of excited about that. And that's why I was seeking something better. I was like, I wonder where the best of this is, because, Yeah, because there's something about many voices joined that's a very different sound than anything you can get on your own. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's hard to sing an SATB piece alone. Right. I mean, I had sung in a community choir in Asheville, the Wild Asheville Community Chorus, which has been around for 20 plus years, I believe, with Susanna Park, which is more of a classic community choir where they build up to a big performance and they raise money and they sing songs from around the world. But I think the thing that I offered is pretty distinct from that, in that, I mean, just not having a performance really changes a lot. It's just experiential. So that takes pressure off of me and pressure off of the singers and makes it more like a series where people can be like, oh, I'm just going to go to this yoga class-esque series as many times as I can during these 2 months and reap the benefits. And that's that, How did you come up with your structure? I love the way you've structured your choir is 2 months, a month off, 2 months, a month off, and seasonally. Yeah, I basically wanted to do it year round and didn't want to get burnt out. And that seemed to be the way to maximize that. 2 months on, 1 month off, 8-week seasons, which is shorter than most. Like, it would be pretty hard to be ready for a performance in 8 weeks. But you can get a lot of singing in. I do 2-hour sessions a week for 8 weeks, which comes out to like 32 hours of class time. People can come to either or both each week. And it's just like chunked very simply. Like, people pay for a season. And I just wanted to keep it pretty simple. And I've been doing it that way since like 2019. So keeping it pretty consistent. 6 years. So is it working in terms of burnout? Are you finding yourself, does it feel sustainable? Yes, I am not experiencing burnout. I love choir. It is the highlight of my life. It's a huge gem. It's supporting me financially, which is huge. Yeah. And so now that I've gotten so many songs in my song bank and so many hours under my belt of this, it feels pretty easy to do. And I have to show up really big for 2 sessions each week, and that does it. So it feels like a huge blessing.
What do you do to take care of yourself so you can show up really big?
That is huge. Yeah, I mean, it's like only so many hours that I'm actually in the center of this huge group of people, but so much of my life revolves around being able to have the juice for that, to be able to show up. And it's been really hard sometimes. Like, I'm a pretty sensitive, emotional guy who can be kind of messy sometimes and have my ups and downs like lots of people. And but I keep showing up and like being this, commanding this space and flowing, and it's a lot. So I have some practices of like meditation and journaling and jogging and working out, and that really, really help when I'm on the bandwagon with those. For the last year and a half or so, I've been pretty steady with that. Yeah, I have to keep pretty healthy. Yeah. And be good in my body. Like, I can't be hungover on a choir day. I have to be pretty clear in myself and feeling good in my body and soul and spirit to really do well. Although I will say sometimes choir buoys me when I'm feeling down. But yeah, the choir has become this thing that's like greater than myself, like my children or something. Like, oh, like even if I didn't have the choir, I would do this stupid thing or do this thing that would make me feel bad in my body or do this dangerous thing. But I'm like, nah, I got the choir. Like, I'm not going to risk, like, they need me. I need to keep existing. I need to keep feeling good. I need, Yeah. So it feels really good to be in devotion to something bigger than myself that I know is a good thing in the world.
That's beautiful. And I'm sure that is sensed by the people who are coming and working with you.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, it means so much to me. And I'd say it means even more to some of my singers. Mm-hmm. People for whom, people will come up to me with tears in their eyes, and they don't always even share what's going on for them, but they're just so grateful for this space and for the singing. It's pulled people through deaths of partners, deaths of parents, big breakups, big upheavals, who knows what. I've heard multiple times people come up to me and say, hey, like, I was sharing these songs to my dying parent on their deathbed, and it was part of what carried them through the death process. Mm-hmm. And thank you so much for sharing these songs. It's totally changed my life.
Yeah.
There are people who said, I'd never sung before joining this group, and now I'm singing every day. There are people who say, because I've been singing in this group, I started having conversations with a family member who I hadn't talked to in a decade. Like, it's very clearly healing people in ways that are huge, and maybe even huger than it's been for me. So when I hear stuff like that, I'm just like, well, this is the most important thing I've done in my life, and so I can't stop.
You say about songs, I'm going to quote you back to yourself. Mm-hmm. You ready?
Yeah.
I have become a servant to these magical and potent beasts that dwell inside us. Do you remember writing that?
Was that on the bio on my website?
Yes.
I wrote that in 2019, so I haven't even read it probably since then, but I would definitely stand behind that. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. At the time I was thinking of the songs as these creatures that, when you share them, when you learn them, you welcome them into the pastures of your being. And that you don't always remember them. They're kind of like these misty pastures. And then sometimes these beasts will just show up out of the mist and come up to the fence and snuffle at you and be like, oh, this song is just in my head this morning. It's close. It's emerged from the mists.
Can you remember a situation where a song has appeared for you like that was useful?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the songs that get stuck in our heads usually to some degree describe something about what we're thinking about or experiencing or living through. Sometimes in ironic ways. Sometimes it can be pretty funny what the song is. I definitely encourage anyone listening to this, when you have a song stuck in your head, like, really think about how it might apply to what you're doing or stressing about.
Can you give us an example?
Humorous. I don't think I have a great one off the top of my head, but I wish that I did, because there are so many times I remember being like, oh my God, the song stuck in my head is totally like making fun of myself right now, or, something like that, or making fun of the situation, or just very genuinely telling me what I need to remember. I mean, sometimes it's more serious. Like, I'll just say recently I was having some frustration in my personal life, and I was trying to like force something. I really wanted so badly for another person to act another way, which is a silly thing to try to spend our time doing. And
we all do. We all do.
Yeah.
So just...
Yeah. And this is more supernatural than just a song popping into your head, but it's the same kind of thing. My phone had a weird glitch. It was like I was listening to music, but then there was this other weird sounding music in the background. I'm like, what's going on? What's that? Where'd that music come from? Like, what's going on? And I like pulled up my phone and it wasn't what was playing, and I paused the music and I'm like, that sounds like a Lawrence Cole song. Wait a second. That's Let Things Ripen and Then Fall. And I realized that Instagram was having some kind of a glitch, and it was playing. I hadn't done anything to it. It just started playing some obscure post that I had made 8 months ago on loop. And it was when Lawrence had visited and was teaching Let Things Ripen and Then Fall. Force is not the way at all. Just let go and we will see. The way to do is to be. And it was stuck on the loop of the part where they sang, the way to do is to be. The way to do is to be. And I was just like, whoa, okay, song creature. Okay, I get it. Couldn't be more obvious than that. So, yeah, sometimes the songs are certainly the medicine we need. And I try to pick songs that are generally giving us these messages to have in our back pocket. You know, this season I'm singing, the sun is giving me life, which is, lyrics from a song from Shireen Amini. I'm singing Take Your Medicine, Take It All, which is a song from Beck's Lips. These songs have messages behind them. And a Carly Loveling song, I Got a Fire Burning Inside of Me, and I can feel that fire guiding me, telling me which way to go. Having faith in our intuition. And the Alexa Sunshine Rose song, May the Pool of Love We Have Gathered Here Spread Its Wings and Fly Far and Near. Just songs that you can mean them. You can say what you're singing and kind of have a purpose, a ritual, functional purpose. I think in that same description, I describe song as a piece of like primitive technology.
Yeah.
And so I think that they have their uses in that way.
So I'm curious, when you participate in a group that someone else is leading, you said Lawrence Cole came, you've gone to Village Fire. You talked a little bit about what you saw at the very beginning that kind of hooked you in, and you thought, ooh, there's a way to do this that's more satisfying, that feels like this is something that interests me. Yeah. When you watch somebody song lead now, what things do you appreciate or what do you notice?
I really appreciate when song leaders are able to, it's like when they're a master, they stand up in front of a group, and before you know it, we're all singing. We're all singing and it's beautiful, and there's layers, and they just come in, and it seems not that hard. And there's a lot going on for a song leader, but it's one of those things where it can seem so hard too. There can be a song leader just trying so hard to convey, like, okay, no, that's the first part, and you do that twice, and then you pause, and then actually the beat's more like this, kind of getting hung up in the details and stuff. I feel like there are these subtle ways that we can use body language and tone and pacing to just kind of mesmerize a group into singing and into tricking them into thinking that something that's hard is actually very easy. And yeah, there's lots of song leaders who are really good at that. I feel like Kira Seto is the song leader who is the most similar to me in terms of like style and pacing and flow and taste in songs, honestly. And strangely enough, I would almost describe Heather Houston as similar too, even though her vibe's pretty different. I think that her teaching style and pacing and like clear direction is like very similar too. And I really of course I'm very biased. I've picked and chosen in the way that I teach the things I like most about song leading. So I like shut up and sing, fast teaches, keeping it simple. Whatever's going to get the most people going, the easiest and the quickest. I call it bang for your buck in a song. Like, is it worth the time? And sometimes really slow teaches are a huge bang for your buck on these big epic teaches. But yeah, I try to keep it simple. I think there's a lot of wisdom in simplifying. So yeah, song choice is huge.
So tell me about how singing and the natural world connect for you. I assume that you're doing these big sings indoors. I am. Your big group.
Yeah. Well, to me, the natural world is where it's at. I grew up in the woods. I feel the most regulated and like myself when I'm in nature and jumping in swimming holes and ponds and spending my days watching the plants and the bugs and the animals and the sky. So nature connection is very important to me and has been a big part of my life all throughout. And there was a pretty serious chunk of time when I was pretty deep into primitive skills, tanning animal hides, picking up roadkill, processing animals, living in the backcountry more, making my own like baskets and clothing, and trying to get more into foraging and herbalism and friction fire. And so I was pretty out there for a while in that realm. And for a while I was doing that and song leading. It was just like craft and primitive skills and then song leading. And I've definitely been to primitive skills gatherings like Earth Skills Rendezvous and Firefly Gathering, which happens in Asheville. And there's always really powerful song culture there. It's a great thing to do. I mean, I think that if you're living in the woods with people together, singing around a fire is just one of the coolest things you can do. It connects everybody. It's primitive technology. You don't need stuff to do it. You can do it all night. There's a lot of different ways it can feel and sound. And I think it just, so to me, singing in nature is a really, really great thing. I grew up going to a Quaker camp where we sang around a fire in the woods, and when we would finish singing a song, it wasn't just the powerful silence, but it was the sound of the cicadas and katydids and crickets roaring in and the crackling of the fire and the sparks rising up to the heavens. And so that's kind of where my soul likes to hang out.
So you described that a little bit like working with the primitive skills and things is in your past at this moment. Is that right? I feel like we go through these phases, and I have changed and changed again. I was living off grid for years on a land project in a yurt and, pooping in a bucket, and set up the whole water system for the whole land project. And it was cool. I felt really empowered in it, heating with fire all winter and using solar and fixing and building everything myself. And I enjoyed it. And I think that I'm going to kind of pendulum swing back that direction eventually. But I have pendulum swung kind of away from it. And I'm currently living in, with all the amenities, I'm living in a housey-house with central heating and a fridge. And I think that I just needed a break from that part of myself, because and it was actually at a song gathering that I had a breakthrough where I realized I went down a lot of rabbit holes with permaculture and tinkering. I was running a waste vegetable oil burning diesel truck that I was tinkering on a lot. I was collecting all this oil and working on vehicles and working on permaculture systems. And I was kind of like working hard and grungy and tools everywhere. And my life was kind of messy. And I was like, I got to do these things because this is what's right. And this is what makes me a good person. And I had this vision of myself as this like hardy woodsman, which I was capable of embodying. But I went to a song gathering a few years ago and just blissed out and cried a bunch, which is what often happens at these things. I crack open and I'm like, my true essence is human connection and softness. And I let my hair down. I had been having my hair in this tight bun for like 6 or 7 years, and it was really long, and my hair was down to my butt at this point. And I was like, I'm not going to put my hair back up. When my hair is down, I feel more like myself. And I set that boundary with myself, and I let my hair down, and I started wearing more comfortable clothing, and I stopped working on diesel vehicles. And I was like, you know what? I think that a lot of those things that I was convinced I have to do to be this person that I want myself to be isn't really who I am. And I let a lot of things go, a lot of really valuable things that I really think are important and good to do, but like don't necessarily capture my essence. And so I've been in a more subtle process of trying to tease out the subtle mystery of what makes me feel the most like myself. Yeah. Which feels like the most important possible thing that each person can do in the world, right?
Yeah.
Is to really, because you're unique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we contain multitudes, and I do miss being more in the woods and being able to tinker more and craft more. And I've since myself craving it again, but it has been nice to just be able to like just exist for a while and let the choir support me and, outsource the growing of my food to wonderful, skilled people. And But yeah, life has these shifts.
What is your earliest memory of singing?
My mom would sing in the car. I grew up in Floyd, Virginia, and she drove us to school, me and my two little brothers, and she has an amazing voice. She's a super good singer, and she would notice the littlest details in the ways that singers were singing. Like, she would make fun of them, make fun of them the way they're singing a little bit. Just like the little emphases she would say, oh, you know how they're singing it, like da 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 da, and be like, oh yeah, that's how they're singing that line. And her hyper focus and ability to just tease out those teeny tiny details really sharpened my ear from the time I was like a toddler. I was listening to these songs and noticing like all these little details. And so nature, nurture, I don't know, both. I had a really keen ear and would sing along. I really love the 90s alternative folk music still to this day, 90s alternative folk and rock stuff is to me still, I was listening to that in the car when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, and it was like, oh, this is the best. So
what makes you most tired? It's actually a two-part question. One is what makes you the most tired? What drains you the most? You said you're an extrovert. You get energized by being around the people. But what makes you the most tired? And when you feel empty or exhausted or tired, what fills you up?
Gosh, how honest should I be?
You can be really honest. Because, it's useful for people to hear how different.
What tires me out the most is my anxiety. I will find something to stress about and fixate on, and I will sap my energy. If I run around and play ultimate frisbee all day and go out playing with friends and I'm super active, there'll be one kind of tiredness, maybe I'll need a night's sleep, but I'm fine. I could really keep going, momentum. But it's when I worry that I get tired. Even if I spend just a few hours in the morning worrying about some interaction, something I did wrong, or worried that somebody thinks something about me, or worried I'm going to for me, it's often worrying I'm going to get in trouble or be too much because I'm a big character, and that's happened for me in the past and the present. And so I'm often worried that I did something wrong. And when I worry, if I'm really tuned into my body, I'm just like, wow, a couple hours of stressing and I'm just shot for the day.
Yeah.
Have
you seen Shrinking, the Apple TV show? So my husband and I were watching it a couple of weeks ago, and there's a character on there named Brian who is really big and really and anxious and really high maintenance. Literally, he calls his friends call him high maintenance. But there was this moment where there were 4 of these characters together, and they said they were playing pickleball, and they were like high maintenance against low maintenance, and so they paired off in that way. And I was like, wow, you can call yourself high maintenance and be okay with that, and your friends can like you still. Yeah, big and high maintenance, and I thought, what a reframe for me to say that I'm anxious, or I'm worried, or I'm depressed, or I'm something. Yeah, and that your friends don't therefore shun you or back away.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's getting more normalized now, and people are just owning it and accepting it about each other, that we're all messy and not perfect, and there's no normal. Yeah. I can't point to many normal people. We're all pretty weird these days, and that's okay, and it's normal to be weird, and it's normal to be stressed and freaked out about the world and ourselves and our history and our ancestry, and I think if you've got open eyes, it's normal to feel that way. But I think it's really important for there to be a place for feeling okay, too, and choosing that. Yeah. I'm saying that as if I know how. But it's like, yeah, good idea. Yeah, let's throw that in there. Idea. Why not? Hopeful.
It is good to notice that sometimes you do feel okay.
Yes. Yes, our negativity bias is so powerful. It's so good to just say, hey, notice where you are and how you feel, in the words of Lawrence Cole. Yeah, just to see how you feel, not just when you're feeling bad, but when you're feeling good too.
Yeah. So when you feel, the part 2, when you feel empty or exhausted, what fills you up?
What
are your go-tos?
What do I like doing? I like fancy food. I like really good food. Asheville's a foodie city. I'll go out to a nice meal, but it's rarely as good as the food I could cook if I look up some recipes, get some ingredients, have a friend over, cook for a group of people. I like having 6 people over for dinner to surround my dinner table and doing something really fancy. I also kind of like dressing up and being kind of a fancy pants, maybe having a fancy drink and watching a jazz band. I'm kind of like, that's a side of myself that I indulge in sometimes that can feel fun and energizing. But staying energized is not necessarily my strong suit. I think that it's something I'm working on. Physical exercise is really good. I play Frisbee most weeks with a group of people and run around and dive into the grass and get kind of crazy, and that helps.
So we're starting to get to know each other just a little bit through this conversation. I feel like I'm starting to get to know you. We haven't met in person yet. What do you think I would learn about you in person that's really hard to learn online?
Oh, geez.
Like if I met you, if I said, Yuri, I'm coming to town, I'm going to take you out to dinner. What would I would notice you were a sharp dresser.
But you can notice that over Zoom too. But there's a felt sense of somebody in a certain felt presence. I think that's hard to convey through the filter of technology. But I also, I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know what would come through. I'm pretty on some level, kind of going along with the primitive skill stuff. I'm fairly anti-technology, resistant to it. Believe that we'd all be a lot better off without any of it. And I also will say that I've been surprised at how much can come through Zoom. Even though it sucks, it's like, wow, I've done therapy via Zoom where I had breakthroughs and powerful moments, and but there's tons that you'd notice if we were in person, of course. I think that you'd see the way that I move through space and move around a room, and how spry and extended I am, and how I bound around and move very quickly, and efficiency of motion, which is part of why I'm a good song leader, is that I think I have a acute kinesthetic awareness of my body. So those are some things. Yeah.
Cool. What are the biggest questions you're carrying right now, like into this year?
Is it okay to flee fascism? Or is it our duty to stay and do everything we can? And maybe there's not one answer for a we, but I'm asking that question for myself. And am I wrong about that happening? Am I right about that happening? Is fleeing giving up? Is fleeing choosing a better life? And do I have more that I can give than I would receive? We're all at different points in our lives, but that's the biggest question in my life right now, is how seriously do I take possibility of moving away from what's going on in this country right now, which is, I've been very attracted to the Mediterranean lifestyle for decades. It fits my vibe a lot better. But I also am doing really, really important work, as I said. So I have this sacred duty, and I would probably die for it. So that's a question. And I think another question is, how much do we need each other? How much is the right amount to ask others for? How much are we responsible for giving ourselves all the things we need and being fully self-sufficient in ourselves? I think that there's a lot of this in kind of pop psychology of you need to be able to be totally fine at all times by yourself and fill your own cup and do your da-da-da-da-da. And that to me is disconnected from the reality that we need each other, and we've been in hunter-gatherer groups for millions of years, and we're meant to be interdependent and lean on each other. And I'm a high maintenance guy. So I'm how much do I need to really work on dialing that back and self-regulating and meeting my own needs? And how much is it okay to lean on your friends or partners and others? And
Yeah.
So those are the two big questions of this year for me.
It's beautiful. Is there anything that you're excited about right now that you want to share?
I'm excited about the springtime and trying to get my body into cold water as often as possible.
Were you influenced by Barbara McAfee?
A bit. I consider her a friend. We connected at Village Fire in 2017.
Because she's a serious cold water swimmer.
Okay.
She's been in the water already, and she's north of you.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah.
Lawrence also swims in the Salish Sea year-round, even in the ice, and starts by biking over there. And I believe he's still doing it, and I think he's 80-something now. And it is pretty, not to one-up Barbara. I love you, Barbara. But it's crazy what these guys out there do in Port Townsend. I love cold immersion. I have actually gotten a lot of benefit from that at times in my life too. I've spent winters dipping in the pond, breaking the ice too, and it's really good.
I am raising my hands in a more power to you gesture.
I don't do it right now. I've the comforts of this house and the shower and the warm water and the central heating I'm not doing it as much now, but I'm dipping now that it's starting to warm up and there's sun to dry off on. So yeah, I'm excited about that. It doesn't much get better than jumping in cold water with some friends and sunning on a rock and
lizarding. We're about to go into lightning round questions, but is there anything that I have not asked you that you wish I'd asked you?
No, I think I got to talk about a lot of stuff that I'm excited about.
Okay. So, lightning round. What's an album that was really important to you?
The Strokes' first album.
What is your favorite soup?
Oh. Okay, what is my favorite soup? It would be like a hearty stew in Ireland. A hearty, meaty stew in Ireland.
All right.
Where was it? I can't remember where it was. It was on the west coast, south of Galway, I think.
Like County Clare?
Was somewhere over there. It was, I'll see if I can remember it, but they were like, this stew hasn't been changed for 400 years, and there are multiple poems that have famously been written about this exact stew.
Was it like lamb?
Probably, yeah. Probably. I think so.
Very cool. What is a sound you feel strongly about? Plus or minus, doesn't matter. Just a strong feeling.
I really love the sound of birdsong, the ones that have a double syrinx, like a veery or a hermit thrush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thrush song.
Mm. Who is an artist you wish more people listened to?
An artist that I wish that more people listened to? Gosh, I haven't really thought about it like this before. Lightning round. The Bowerbirds.
Ah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're beautiful, and especially their earlier albums I really love. They're just speaking about, all their albums I love, and they're just speaking about nature connection and kind of speaking about some intense stuff very beautifully. Yeah, I really like their album Tuck the Darkness In, I believe is what the album is. It's my favorite, yeah.
Okay. And where can we find you and follow your projects?
My website is weringlikebells.com. I wouldn't say you could follow my projects. I'm kind of a Luddite. There's not much on there. You can
move to Asheville, the Asheville area, and then you can be involved.
Yeah, there is on that website. If you go up to the top where it says songs, it says practice tracks master list. And I have declassified all of the practice tracks to every season I've ever done over the last 7 years. There's probably at least 200 songs in alphabetical order on there. And yeah, it's just me singing all the parts in sort of a mediocre way, but there's a lot of really good community singing songs on there.
Fabulous. Huge thank you to you, Yuri, for coming on A Breath of Song. And a huge thank you to you, our listeners. So glad you're singing with us. You can visit abreathofsong.com to see show notes with links, lyrics, Patty Piotrowski's glorious artwork. Sign up to get artwork and music in your mailbox. How beautiful is that? Be one of the generous people who put something in the gratitude jar to help cover costs. Before Patty or I is paid, 25% is donated to the Jazz Foundation of America, which directly supports jazz, blues, and roots musicians in need. The skill and the artistry of these musicians has directly shaped most of the music I share on this podcast in some way or another, yet historically, they have been inadequately recognized and unfairly recompensed. It's what prompted me to search out this organization for us to support. Let's sing in the spring again to help it sink in more deeply, because our brains remember better when we come back to stuff.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to round it again?
Sure. Should I round it like a little further away, or do you want me to stay right next to it?
No, let's try it in a different spot.
Okay.
So, yeah, go to the third line. Come in on the third line. And I'll sing through it maybe 3 times and then try to catch up with you, which I would have to do it twice.
Okay, well, the first time I'll sing with you, just to remind me of how the song goes. That would be good.
Okay. We'll sing through once and then round it.
Okay.
In the spring, among the flowers, birdsong rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is bright. What a time to unleash your light. In the spring, among the flowers, birdsong rings in the morning hours.
In the spring, among the flowers, birdsong rings in the morning hours.
In the spring, among the flowers.
What a time to release the night.
Should we start over?
Sure. That kind of went wonky.
It went wonky. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
It might be harder to start at that point.
No, that's okay. It was just because I couldn't remember the words to the third part. All of a sudden, I just blanked.
No, okay.
My brain is old. It takes me a while to get these things.
Okay. Okay, so we'll just round it again?
Yeah.
Okay. In the spring, among the flowers, birdsong rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is flowers. Birdsong rings in the morning hours. In the spring, among the flowers, birdsong rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is flowers. Birdsong rings in the morning hours. Sun is up and the day is bright. What a time to unleash your light.
Yay. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much for coming today.
Yeah, this is great.
Thank you, listeners and singers, for joining Yuri and me today for A Breath of Song. I'm grateful that you're taking care of yourself, listening to your voice. I believe making a better world starts with tuning into ourselves and each other, which is what we just did. So yay, us.
Yay, us.
If you're liking this podcast, please share with a friend, and next time we'll plant another song. Until then, be well.